Welcome to this short video on protection of groups. Now, what is protection? What does it have to do with organic compounds? Here's the idea. It's possible that sometimes we want to carry out a procedure in a particular environment and we want to shield certain components of that environment from Welcome to this short video on protection of groups. What is protection of groups? What does it involve? I'll tell you very quickly. It's going to be a very short video. Now imagine that you were to carry out a procedure in an environment and you want to spare certain components of that environment. It happens very commonly, for example, when we fumigate our compounds, as we try to spread the pesticides or whatever poison we're using, we tend to protect ourselves so that the chemical we're sending out will kill the things we intend for them to destroy, yes, and then we are preserved alive. The same thing happens when we remove weed from a farm, just that in that case, you may have to just be selective and that's all. But now we're looking at protection. Commonly too, in my environment here in Nigeria, people have to go to car wash centers where they would wash their engines. That's what we call it. We say go for an engine wash, a steam wash of your engine. Whoever does that process would usually protect certain areas. He will cover certain areas in that same engine compartment where water should not get to. And when he's done with the procedure, he removes whatever covering he puts there. That's protection. Now in organic chemistry, see how it applies. In this case, we have a compound that has two functional groups. The carboxylic group and then the ketone group. Those are two groups present in this compound. Now, if I were to reduce this carboxyl group, if I were to reduce it into an alcohol group, precisely a primary alcohol group, I would have some problem. I would have some problem because the substance that I'm going to use that will reduce this carboxyl group, it's very likely that it's also going to reduce my carboxyl group. As a matter of fact, let's take this out so that we have a proper case now. So there are two groups here that are susceptible to reduction. And I intend to reduce this, but I want nothing to happen to that. I just want this one to become a primary alcohol group. What option do I have? I would need to protect that group from reduction. In that case, before introducing my reducing agent, I may want to reduce this substance with a protecting agent. Different functional groups have different agents that protect them. For the carbonyl group CO, a common protecting group is the alcohol. Like we use diols in this case. This is a ketone. This substance is a ketone. If you look at the RCOR, we say it corresponds to the ketone general formula. It's not an alkanal. So for a ketone like this, we can protect it using a diol. So diols can be used. So if I were to bring a diol here, let's say we bring the simplest diol, we write it as CH2OH and then CH2OH. That's ethylene glycol or ethane 1,2 diol. If these were to react, I will get a substance called a ketal that looks like this. This is my ketal, so I have the COOH unaffected. And then on this side I'll have, let's see, C, then O, CH2, CH2, O again, and C, then CH3. So see what has happened here now. See what has happened here. My diol has reacted with the ketone group to produce a compound we can call a ketal. Now for this ketal that has been formed, I can now go ahead and carry out reduction using, let's say, LiAlH4. And this reducing agent can convert my COOH into CH2OH. Alright? After that has happened, I can then use an acid, mineral acid, to convert that my ketal back to the ketone group, so that my final product would be something like this. This CH2OH now, and then on this side I have CO and then CH3, please, CH3. So what's the overall effect? Looking at where we started from and where we ended up, the COOH group has been reduced to CH2OH, whereas the carbonyl group remains the carbonyl group. So the way it works normally is we protect this group using something that will not react with this. That's what should happen normally. We use a group that would not react with this one, so that by the time we bring that substance in, it reacts with just this and then forms a new group that will not be susceptible to the change that we're trying to make this guy undergo. Like in this case, it's reduction, and that ketal would not succumb to reduction. So that after reduction of the carboxyl group to a primary alcohol group, we can now use acid by hydrolysis to convert that ketal back into the ketone group. So in the end, I have achieved my aim. I have carried out reduction of the carboxyl group without touching the carbonyl group. So that's about protection of groups. You can find a long list of protecting agents and the different groups they protect in any standard chemistry text or even online. Remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Dr. Quinty. You can subscribe, you can share, and then you can like. So that's the YouTube channel. Look for it. DRQUINTY. No space. It's just one word. You type it continuously. So I'll see us in our next video. Do have a lovely week.